How you doing? My name is Pedro. I'm founder of New Jersey for Kids, New Jersey for Parental Equality, and they both number fours. You can find us on the web. Hopefully by the end of this week, beginning of next week, at New Jersey for Kids, New Jersey for PE.org, or on Facebook. I want to talk to people who aren't involved. How can I put it? A lot of people question and judge when they see an adult who's a criminal or a stripper or something in that nature, and they always wonder, or they say, where was the father? Which is understandable. Because, society understands at that point that a child needs both parents in their lives. They both bring certain values into the upbringing of the child. But what society doesn't know is how family court operates. Why society doesn't question why a father usually, or the non-custodial parent, is given 4 days a month. They accept it for what it is. The first thing that comes to mind is always the child support enforcement instead of, the time. Once money is more valuable to a child, to me, society has been, I'm not going to use the word negative, but doesn't have its priorities in order. Basically what happens is the child support enforcement, which is part of the Social Security Title 4D, it funds the states through federal funding. States also get high-performing bonuses by increasing child support orders and so on at the minimum of 4 days a month. They're basically hurting the children. That Title 4D has a lot of flaws. It was supposed to be to protect families that were abandoned by, back then was the father. So they created it to help those families and not put a tax burden on the general public. But states wind up seeing how they were generating money from it and creating jobs and so on, that they just started extorting parents and exploiting children. At the end of the day, that's what it is. With family, and I'm going to say this, with family court, you don't see any judgments based on family values, based on family, just based on family. They're always removing, like that shouldn't be called family court. You see, especially, as the non-custodial parent, you're speaking facts and you have factual information. You hear your ex lying and the courts are believing it because of the extortion, and they, you have your child removed from you, or you're given sometimes even below the minimum, and you feel angry at the time, which is understandable. You have your child stripped away from you. I'm not going to compare it to death, but with death, at least the child is gone, that you're not going to see that child ever again. But when that child is alive and is being stripped away from you, it does more to your self than, because it makes you feel less of a parent, because you're limited to less than the standard. There's no reason why you shouldn't have 50% custody, and then witnessing these lies and so on, and they're believing it. It does some, especially not being educated in the system, it does a lot of things to you where you feel your parenting skills or your self-worth is worthless. And when you feel angry, you tend to, you're going to lash out at court. And what they do is that they take away that human emotion and they use it against you. You know, they make you feel angry because you're hearing all these lies. You're experiencing all this, and you know, rightfully you're gonna feel angry, and they use that against you, you know, because the minute you show anger, now you have anger issues, you know. But who isn't gonna feel angry when your child is removed from you? You know, like it's just the system is created that way. You know, that's one of the problems in this. You know, another problem is the unethical, fraudulent adoptions. You know, a single mother an unmarried single mother can go into an adoption agency, sign over her rights of her child during birth, and the father doesn't need to be there. If he finds out, he has to spend thousands of dollars to fight for his child, fight for something that's rightfully his, that's genetically his. And the adoptive parents are going to fight you to the death. You know, it's unethical. You know, and these lawyers and judges, they all see this. You know, this has to stop. You know, back to family court, you know, you have grandparents that are being denied access to their grandchildren. The same thing with siblings. You know, these are things that happen. And me personally, I didn't know about a lot of this until I got involved in the situation. You know, also with fathers and parents like me that are being extorted. You know, we talk about this a lot. And the reason being is, you know, you have your child stripped away from you. You know, there's no worse feeling than that. You know, you have your child, you know, you either saw every day and now you're not good enough to see your child. Now you're not good enough to raise your child. You know, so you have that feeling, and it feels like you're drowning. You know, you have this big weight on your chest, a vice on your neck, you know. So you always talking about this, that sometimes your friends, your family, and so on just get tired of hearing about it, you know, because they don't believe how this situation is. And in reality, that is what the situation is what happens, you know, when I explained earlier. You know, it's just wrong how, you know, how it happens, and we need to vent, we need to talk. You know, if you hear your siblings, your friends, your whoever they are, you know, hear them out, they're drowning. You know, me personally, I never felt hopeless, defenseless, powerless, or voiceless until being involved in this system. And you know, even now, I still talk about it a lot, but I more focus on the system than my situation. But it really gets to you. You know, you don't know the feeling until it happens to you. You know, and that to me is what society needs to start understanding. You know, CBS and Dr. Kapasoa, I believe his name is. You can see the link on our pages. They did a study where 30,000 people committed suicide back in 2000 or 2001. 22,000 were men. 14,850 were associated with family court. And it's understandable. Why? Because of that weight on your chest where you feel alone, you know. And like, to me, experiencing that, I don't want my son to go through it. Yeah, I'm continuing the video. I got a little too emotional, so I stopped. You know, where I left off at was the suicide rates. What happens is, you know, just like you speak to any, I'm gonna, you know, say man, because, you know, it happens to men more frequent. You know, every man knows that system is bad. You know, just society in general. You know, that's why those suicide rates are the way they are, you know, between the financial impact, a lot of people, mainly men, are homeless, forced out their homes, forced out their, for instance, where I live, I'm in a 1-bedroom. I possibly got to move out. How am I going to see my son? How am I supposed to parent him? I already have 36 hours a month right now. I have less than a standard. I'm able to care for him during the day while I wait to go to work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm ready, willing, and able, and I'm forced to pay child care instead of caring for my son. It's wrong. That just tells you that their focus is money. It's not focused on family, like the title says, family court. So you put a lot of these factors in play, especially the financial burden, the alienation, of the child. You went from seeing your son or your daughter or your kids every day to 4 days a month, and then at times, the custodial parent is keeping the child away from you, so you might spend years without seeing your kid, and these are things that happen in family court. There aren't any laws to prevent those incidences. So you put a lot of these things into factors, especially false restraining orders. Restraining orders, domestic violence aren't investigated. They use this err in the right of caution, which is that the judge, basically it's for the judge to protect themselves. They grant the restraining order and they don't investigate anything. I don't know, but that's just wrong. And a lot of times it's a tactic that's used in family court, where they proceed these restraining orders just to speed up the process in custody and alimony disputes, which goes towards that suicide rate. And that's the thing that society doesn't see. They don't look into those factors because they're not educated in it. And it's wrong. It's not on their part, but a lot of people don't look into certain situations if it's not affecting them. And our thing mainly is to protect the next generation, is to protect, possibly you. Like, we don't know how fast this could affect laws and get some change, where it's more on an equal balance, pendulum. But we're just trying to, like I said, just educate the public. I hope with this video, a lot of people are enlightened now on how this system operates. Like I said, you can find us on the web, hopefully by the end of this week or sometime next week at NJ4Kids, NJ4PE.org, and pretty much the same way on Facebook, just Facebook, NJ4Kids, NJ4 Parental Equality, and you'll find us there. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you understand how this system operates.